Hello, students and friends of the booktube slash horrortube slash authortube community. It is I, Coach Stroud, with another riveting, amazing, breathtaking episode of Coach Stroud's What to Read While Quarantined. Pew, pew. In this episode, I'm really super excited to talk to you about one of my favorite authors, one that I've covered a bunch of times, probably a million, Stephen King, and his story, Misery. Misery, yes. Amazing book. Oh my gosh. Definitely now in my top 5 of favorite Stephen King novels. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I want to start by saying Misery it's different. It's different because it is a novel that basically takes place between two people and their conversations and what goes on in their world. And from a writer perspective, that's tough. That's really hard. And the fact that Stephen King was able to pull that off, and not only just pull it off, do it so incredibly well, is just phenomenal. And it shows his strength as a writer. Now, Misery is about two people, Annie Wilkes and Paul Sheldon. Now, Paul Sheldon is a famous author. He writes the Misery series. Annie Wilkes is his #1 fan. Ooh. So what happens is Paul's in this car accident. He wakes up in a house and he is really seriously injured, and he wakes up in the house of Annie Wilkes, and she's nursing him back to health. But things turn dark and dismal and deadly even when Annie Wilkes reads Paul's new book, Misery's Child, and something tragic happens to the main character in that book, and it sends Annie off the edge. She flips out, and what comes next is just brutal. Stephen King does an excellent job of describing the brutality that Annie Wilkes displays on Paul, and it's really gut-wrenching. It is scary. It is horrifying. It is straight up demented. That's the best way I can describe this book, is just flat out demented. Annie Wilkes is a beautifully, beautifully written character by Stephen King. I mean, he just does a phenomenal, I use that word all the time, phenomenal. He does a phenomenal job of getting into the story of Annie, figuring out who she is and why she is the way she is, and just how the world around her is just crumbling. Beautiful, beautiful story. I don't want to go too much into detail about what happens to Paul, because it's, I don't want to take the fun away from that. But she tortures the ever-living bejesus out of him. I mean, it's wild. This is definitely, if I didn't say it already, this is definitely in my top 5 of favorite Stephen King novels now. Incredibly written. It's interesting. I have a little bit of a backstory on this. I first came across Stephen King back in 5th grade, and I had a friend of mine. His name was Daniel, and he was reading this in 5th grade, and I'm like, I remember being like, "Whoa, that's an adult book. That's really big." And he's like, "Yeah, but this is really good, man. You need to check this out." And I was too busy reading my Fear Street novels at the time that I was just like, "Nah, I'm good," And it wouldn't be until much later when another friend of mine named Dustin Morrissey would reintroduce me to Stephen King. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful to both of those gentlemen for opening my eyes to such a wonderful writer. I highly recommend it. It's just incredibly terrifying. Again, the dialogue between the two of them is amazing. Between the two main characters of Annie and Paul is amazing. And it is brutal. And one of the things I also really like about this, without giving away too much information, is being a war veteran myself and dealing with PTSD, and then seeing how Paul on his side and how he deals with PTSD for me, it was like, there's a connection there. I totally get you, Paul. I understand where you're coming from and why you feel the way you do. So for me, that just, I don't know, that, yeah, there was a connection there. So for this, I highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it. It is a definite 5 out of 5 across the board. Not too long, it's not too, for Stephen King, it's rather, it's not short, but it's doable, you should be able to finish it pretty quickly. Again, highly recommend it. I'm currently reading The Shining right now and loving it, and hopefully we'll be doing a review on that one soon, and we'll see. Also have some other things in store. I've decided that I'm going to do another library tour. I've cleaned up my library, so I'm going to do a library tour soon, and I also want to cover and highlight my Stephen King collection, since I seem to be doing a lot of his books lately. All right, so that's it. Have a good one, and until next time, deuces. We're out.